Carolina Coliseum. For the past 5 years, this $9 million structure has been affectionately known as the house that Frank Mcguire built. It's been home for Gamecock basketball. The 1972-1973 home season opened at home on a winning note against Nevada, Las Vegas. 13 victories later, the home season closed against Buchanan. 153,000 fans filed through the turnstiles. In 29 games, 297,000 saw the Gamecocks play in person. Countless millions by way of local, regional, and national television. 13 home victories, an overall record of 22-7. NCAA postseason competition for a third year in a row. South Carolina basketball, 1972-1973. It was a very good year. Carolina Coliseum was just one of the many stages upon which the Gamecocks enacted their drama called Total Excitement. The real heroes have been the characters who have played their parts on these stages. This year they were billed as Captain Kevin and his kitty corps. Michael Dunleavy, an 18-year-old, 6'2", 175-pound freshman from Nazareth High School in Brooklyn, New York. A hard-nosed Irish kid who plays the game of basketball with reckless abandon. A young man with a deep-rooted desire to win. Dunleavy played in all 29 games, scored 303 points, and ended the season with the fifth highest scoring average, 10.4 points a game. He had 73 assists, second only to Captain Kevin Joyce. From the charity stripe, he was 59 for 72 for an amazing 81%. Once again, second only to Kevin Joyce. Against Marshall University, young Michael Dunleavy was high man with 24 points. He was co-high scorer against Utah with Casey Manning as he had 16. Dunleavy made the transition from high school to college with ease and proficiency. Shooting ability, driving the middle, ball handling, and aggressive defense. Michael Dunleavy can do it all. An 18-year-old freshman, he's already reached basketball maturity. Freshman players made their mark on Gamecock basketball this year. Freshmen accounted for 805 points, 35.7% of all points scored. 460 rebounds, 34.5% of all the caroms pulled down by Gamecock players. Leading this array of talent, 19-year-old Alexander English. Known as Flick, the lad from Columbia is 6'8", 185 pounds. Alexander English was one of the most highly sought players in the history of South Carolina high school basketball. English was second leading scorer, 422 points in 29 games, an average of 14.6 points a ball game. Flick has an artistic soft touch as he favors the jumper from the sides and the circle. In the Utah Classic, English took high-scoring honors against Providence. He had 16 points. He led all rebounders as he pulled down 16. At that same Utah Classic, Alexander English joined very elite company. He was named to the all-tournament team. The Gamecocks then moved into Madison Square Garden, the basketball capital of the world, for the Holiday Classic. The young man from Dreier High School in Columbia was very much at home. He had some of his greatest moments against Villanova. Close to 12,000 fans were on hand as English was high man with 23 points. He pulled down 13 rebounds and led in that department also. Once again, against some of the greatest college competition this country has to offer, Alexander English was crowned an all-star. He was named to the first 5 on the team. In Houston and the NCAA regionals, English was high man against powerful Memphis State. He scored 19. Against 7th-ranked Southwest Louisiana, he was also high man. He scored 22 points. 20 of those points came in the second half. Against Memphis State and Southwestern Louisiana, English was playing in his third tournament of the year. When the final horn sounded, he was again selected among the very best. Alexander English, for the third time in a single season, was named to the Midwest Regional All-Tourney team. 29 games, a 51% average from the floor, 63% from the charity stripe, 306 rebounds, 25 assists, 54 blocked shots. Alexander English, a young man who has earned the respect of the basketball world. The night of December 22nd, 1972, will go down in the annals of South Carolina basketball history as one of the greatest games ever played at Carolina Coliseum. Nationally ranked and previously undefeated Indiana was in town. This Big Ten team, coached by Bobby Knight, was huge and strong. For the first 20 minutes, Indiana dominated play. With just over 15 minutes left in the game, the Hoosiers led the Gamecocks by 14 points. The entire Coliseum came to life. It rocked with the excitement as Kevin Joyce and his kiddie corps came to life. Let's relive some of that dramatic action.
The Gamecocks began the dramatic comeback. Kevin Joyce drives all the way through. He lays it up and in. And he was fouled in the play. Kevin Joyce on the line, nerves of steel. The ball is up, and it's good. Ritter with the ball, gives it to Buckner, and it's stolen by Kevin Joyce. Kevin Joyce across the timeline, starts his drive. And the free throw line, once again, it's good. Kevin Joyce with 41 points in the ball game against nationally ranked Indiana. The hook shot by Cruz, no good. Saved from going out of bounds by Casey Manning. Gives it to Kevin Joyce, the long court pass to Dunleavy, and the freshman puts it up and in. And the gap is closing. Dunleavy takes the ball out of bounds. To Brian with top of the key. He arches the back. It's good. From way downtown, Brian Withers hits from the top of the keyhole. The stadium rocks as the Gamecocks come back. Kevin Joyce down the floor 7 times. 7 times he hits in a row. 10:04 left to go in the game. Joyce once again, right of the key, drives all the way through. The fall-away jumper, it's good. And Kevin Joyce is called for the offensive foul. Frank Mcguire and Buck Freeman are up complaining about the call. But what a play. Ritter with the ball, gives it to Cruz. It's stolen again. The long court pass to Casey Manning. In rhythmic action, he drives toward the basket and lays it up and in. Now only 5 points separate these two fine teams. Downing with the ball. Stolen once again, this time by Bob Mathias, another freshman. The drive. Michael Dunleavy starts to go through. Passes off to Kevin Joyce. Joyce reverse cuts. Goes just to the top of the keyhole. Arches the shot, and it's true. Now just 3 points. Indiana calls the timeout. Bill Loving tells Coach Frank Mcguire he has 2 timeouts left. Joyce again, down the floor. The ball toward the basket. Once again, it's good. One of the greatest nuts since All-American's career. Now just 3 points separate South Carolina, Indiana. Joyce once again. The fall-away jumper. Once again, he hits. Under severe pressure. 1 point. Alexander English puts the Gamecocks in front as he scores a basket. He was fouled. He makes a 3-pointer. South Carolina out in front. Kevin Joyce from way downtown. Rebound, Bob Mathias, and it's good. The Gamecocks out in front again by 3. 4:57. Now South Carolina by 1. As Joyce starts his drive. From the free throw line, Dunleavy off the front of the rim. Alexander English goes high in the air with the rebound, and it's an offensive rebound, and it's good. Gamecocks once again by 1. Kevin Joyce across the timeline. Left to the keyhole. Double team. The ball is stolen. It's stolen by Cruz. The long court pass to Buckner, and the defensive play of the year. As Joyce bangs it off Buckner's knee out of bounds, the Gamecocks have it out. Joyce again. As once again South Carolina tries to kill the clock. They're leading by 1. Brian Withers goes to the line in a pressure-packed situation. He must make them both. His first one is up, and it's good. Now Indiana coach Bobby Knight will make an adjustment, trying to put more height beneath that basket. Should Brian Withers miss the second, Indiana could get the rebound and tie the game up. If the shot is good, South Carolina would lead by 3 and just about put the game out of reach. Winters' basket. It's up, and it's good. The Gamecocks by 3. Buckner, right of the key. Underneath to Downing. Turnaround jumper by Downing. Alexander English with the rebound. He drops it. Joyce gets it. Jump ball. 5 seconds showing on the clock. And now in one of his patented jumps. Joyce slams the ball across the timeline. A desperation shot. South Carolina wins the game 88-85.
Last year, the University of South Carolina basketball team traveled over 22,000 miles. This past season, the mileage totaled more than 19,000. Some trips were made on charter flights. Commercial airlines provided transportation for others. The Gamecocks were in and out of Chicago's O'Hare Airport 8 times this year. The team went as far west as Utah. Mountain Beauty provided recreation for the South Carolina fans following the Gamecocks to Salt Lake City. The Wasatch Range and the west side of the Rockies, breathtaking. Mother Nature meets the below-zero temperatures, resplendent in her deep, pure white ermine coat of snow. A favorite attraction, Snowbird, the highest peak, 11,000 feet above sea level. From Utah, the Gamecocks traveled as far north as Niagara Falls, while the state of South Carolina was digging out from beneath the burden of a record-shattering snowfall. The Gamecocks were sightseeing in this other winter wonderland. Young men 6'5" and 7 feet tall, big by human standards, dwarfed by the magnitude and beauty of one of North America's greatest sightseeing attractions. The mercury rises to only 5 above zero at noontime in the heart of winter. The cold outside is challenged only by the inner warmth generated by this beautiful sight. Skyscrapers and sidewalk congestion of some of the greatest cities in this country welcomed this young team from the Palmetto State. New York City, Chicago, Salt Lake, Buffalo, Milwaukee, Wichita, Toledo, and Houston were all stops on the Gamecock schedule. Young men performing the role of ambassadors. In that all-important mission, 1972-1973 was also a very good year. As predicted by Coach Frank Mcguire last October, the success of the 1972-73 basketball season would be dependent upon the performance of senior Danny Traylor. Traylor was the Gamecocks' only truly big man. A 7-footer, he weighs 240 pounds. Traylor comes from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He averaged 12.8 points as he played in all 29 games. He led his teammates in field goal accuracy. He fired an amazing 52% from the floor. This year, Traylor blocked 113 shots. However, his number one responsibility was rebounding. He was endowed with the responsibility of getting the ball off both the offensive and defensive boards. He pulled down 308 rebounds, leading all teammates with an average of 10.6 per game. Against Michigan State, Danny Traylor was high man with 18 points and 11 rebounds. The Gamecocks defeated Michigan State 83-64. In New York's Madison Square Garden, Traylor was high man with 25 points against Manhattan. He led all rebounders with 12. In ensuing games, Danny Traylor assumed the role of high scorer against Niagara, Villanova, and Stetson. For a big man, Danny Traylor possesses mobility. The hook shot used so effectively by Traylor did not come easily. It's been the result of long hours of extra practice. He's a powerful man. He presents to the opponent a tremendous psychological and physical obstacle. His ability to intimidate is a talent that does not show up in post-game statistics. Danny Traylor will graduate in June. He's made a tremendous contribution to Gamecock basketball. This year was the final chapter in his collegiate career. It was Danny Traylor's very best. Teaming with Traylor and Alexander English in the front court this year was Brian Winters. This 6'4", 185-pound junior from Rockaway Park, New York, is a versatile do-it-all performer. He can drill the long jumper from the outside. As teams double and triple teamed Kevin Joyce, Brian Winters bombed away from long range. He demonstrated his shooting ability against Georgia Southern as he racked up 23 points. Winters has the ability to work the baselines from all angles. Brian had another of his great nights against powerful Duquesne. It was the final home game of the season. Winters bombarded the nets for 22 points. Brian Winters was in and out of the hospital early this year. He was plagued by mononucleosis, yet he played in 26 games. He scored 229 points for an 11.5 average, fourth best among his teammates. Winters is an accurate passer. Against Davidson, Brian broke the back of a pressing defense. Time and time again, he threaded the needle with long, accurate passes. On the long, fast break toss, Brian Winters has no peer. He posted a superb shooting mark, hitting 47% from the field. From the charity stripe, he was 59 for 81 for 73%. Although only 6'4", Winters was the team's third leading rebounder. He pulled down 164. Brian Winters will be back for another year. Seeing action in all 29 games this year was Casey Manning from Dillon. This season, Casey Manning was a stalwart. Against Utah, he shared high-scoring honors with Michael Dunleavy. He had a career high of 16 points. The Gamecocks defeated Utah 77-73. It was the shooting of Casey Manning from along the baseline that kept the Gamecocks in that game. It was the same story against Southwestern Louisiana. Manning had 13 points. 11 came in a point-hungry first half. From the charity stripe, he shot 79%. Graduation ends the career of this Palmetto State native. He's been a credit to his state. Another Gamecock star looming on the horizon is 6'6", 200-pound forward Mark Griner from Charlotte. A smooth operating cornerman, Griner saw action in 22 games. A great baseline driver with aggressive moves beneath. A moment of glory came at Olean, New York, against St. Bonaventure. 24 seconds showing on the clock. The Gamecocks leading the Bonnies 71-7. Mark Griner, the freshman, on the line. A pressure-packed situation. The first shot was good, 72-70 in favor of the Gamecocks. Griner calmly sank the second toss. The game was out of reach. The Gamecocks beat the Bonnies by 1. In the last minutes of the NCAA quarterfinal against Texas Tech, 4 freshmen teamed with Kevin Joyce for the victory. Young men who did not have a lot of playing time, young men who will be the heroes of the future. I asked these young men their feelings about the 1972-73 season.
Well, I'll tell you, I've met a lot of people, and I've done a lot of traveling. I've seen a lot of places I haven't seen. I just really enjoyed it a lot. All the people are just really great, and it's really meant a lot to me. It really has.
And Tommy Cox, another lad from up Washington way. You're a sophomore. You had a great freshman year, Tommy, one of the finest shooters ahead in the ball club. This year, you did not have a lot of playing time, but do you look forward to more playing time in the future?
Yes, sir. I was really, happy to be associated with the players this year, and I think they're really great, and I really hope, I get more playing time next year, and I'm really happy right now.
Thank you very much. And Jimmy Walsh, young fella from up New York way, the brother of Donnie Walsh, the assistant coach. And Jimmy, what has the season meant to you?
Well, Mr. Petty, like Tommy and Jimmy, being associated with people, on and around the team, such as yourself and Steve, it's just been a big experience getting to see different places and different people. I'm looking really forward to next year and getting a little more playing time, I hope.
You're going to really work on this game over the summer?
Yeah, as usual, try every day, just do the best I can, hope to play a lot more next year.
And Bob Mathias has been one of the big guys. And Bob, you've had your great moments this year. I think 2 of the greatest games that I can recall were Indiana, Illinois. You did extremely well against Big Ten competition.
Got a couple breaks, I guess. Yeah, good ones and bad ones. It's really great playing this year with guys like Danny and Kevin and Brian, and Michael, Alex. It's really an experience. It was great traveling. I just really enjoyed this year a lot.
Rick Mauser, the 6'5", 220-pound junior from Seymour, Indiana, the #1 backup in the corner last year, saw action in only 11 games this season. Mauser was hampered by illness and knee surgery. Next year, Rick Mauser will be ready.
Try to front Billings, baby, you can. Try to front him. It's going to be tough getting over your head. But once he gets the ball, he tries all those tricks. He bounces the ball. We got 5 timeouts left. If anybody feels fine.
Frank Mcguire has brought more prestige to the University of South Carolina than any other athletic coach in history. The Gamecocks' 22-7 record marked the 5th straight year that South Carolina's basketball teams have topped 20 victories. NCAA competition for a 3rd year in a row. Success for this man is no accident. He's the only coach to win 100 or more games at 3 separate major colleges. In the words of his players, Coach Mcguire personifies confidence as he sits on the bench. Time and time again this year, the Gamecocks overcame huge opponent leads and entered the victory circle as the final whistle sounded. There is no generation gap between Coach Frank Mcguire and his players. He speaks their language. Coach Mcguire's love for the game of basketball has been contagious. For young and old, the game has taken on new dimensions in the Palmetto State. Frank Mcguire, winner of 3 National Coach of the Year awards. Frank Mcguire, builder of national champions. Frank Mcguire, winner of 430 games against only 165 defeats in 23 years college coaching. Frank Mcguire, builder of All-Americans. Frank Mcguire, by his accomplishments, so shall you know him.
I want to make it as brief as possible. We have an excellent basketball game here, but I just want to take this one moment to say how proud I am of Kevin. He has done so much for me as a coach, so much for the university as an individual, so much for the state of South Carolina, and so much for the United States as being a member of the Olympic team. Kevin, I wish you all the luck in the world for the rest of your career. You're a great one. I don't know how we're ever going to replace you. Thank you very much.
Kevin Joyce, captain of the 1972-1973 Gamecocks, became the 3rd player in South Carolina basketball history to have his number retired. The outstanding guard from Merrick, New York, finished his career with 1,400 points, a 17.3 average for 3 varsity seasons. Both ranked 5th on all-time Gamecock lists. The life of Kevin Joyce has been centered around this game of basketball. His facial expression during a game is a vivid outward sign of the strong inner determination to win. Kevin Joyce is the super athlete, one that can do it all. He handles the ball, runs the entire show, and shoots from the outside. He can fire and drive from the corner with the ability of a forward. This season, Kevin Joyce drew a lot of attention from opposing teams, being often doubled and triple teamed. Kevin Joyce then demonstrated his unselfishness as he led all Gamecocks in assists. He had 152. In this department, he established a new Carolina Coliseum record. Kevin Joyce took scoring honors in 16 games this season. He had a season high of 41 points, including 18 field goals against Indiana. Last summer, Kevin Joyce brought prestige to his country, university, and himself, as he was selected as a member of the United States Olympic basketball team. Munich, as it turned out, was not only a test of his athletic ability, it was a test of his character. For Kevin Joyce, the crucible of Munich produced a mature man. Kevin Joyce, captain. Kevin Joyce, All-American. Kevin Joyce, one of the all-time greats in a school steeped in basketball tradition. Number 43 has been retired. Kevin Joyce leaves the University of South Carolina. This young Houdini of the hardwood will never be forgotten. Captain Kevin and his kiddie corps. Gamecock basketball 1972-1973. It was a very good year.